In the Gospel of Luke, this cure takes place very early in Jesus' ministry. He has just appeared in the synagogue of Nazareth, where Luke tells us he was raised, and where at first people were impressed and he was praised by all. But then when he challenged them, they were, in the words of Luke, filled with fury and attacked him, and he went away. But he didn't go far, and it was perhaps the next Sabbath that we find him in Capharnaum. The first time I went there, and the memory is still with me, the first thing I saw was this simple sign on the gate to the site, the town where Jesus lived. Frankly, it took my breath away. Matthew refers to it as his own town. Although it is now an archaeological site with the remains of a 4th century synagogue built on the foundations of a 1st century synagogue, the remains of what is thought to have been Peter's house, with a very modern church with a glass floor built over it, and the foundations of other small houses, one can overlook the Sea of Galilee and easily imagine Jesus walking along the shore, talking with people, eating at Peter's house, and generally being part of the community. I felt him very present. And this is the place he chose, according to Luke, for his first cure. The Synoptic Gospels present Jesus as prophet, teacher, healer, and proclaimer of God's reign of peace, justice, and love. Only here, and in the parallel passages in Mark and Matthew, is Jesus presented as an exorcist. It was the belief in Jesus' time that before the coming of the Messiah, humanity would be liberated from all evil, including evil spirits, and that is what Jesus is portrayed as doing, just shortly after the inauguration of his public ministry. The story, however, makes us, data-driven, evidence-based believers in science, a bit embarrassed. Jesus the exorcist? What is that about? After all, there was a movie about possession and exorcism in our very neighborhood. We would be more comfortable with it as a cure, which is in fact the title of the story in the New American Bible. And while exorcism is now practiced very rarely and under very limited circumstances in the Catholic Church today, it is widely practiced in other religious traditions, which we gallantly dismiss as primitive, but which give comfort to many around the world. So what can we draw from this if we are willing to confront the idea of exorcism instead of the more comfortable idea of a cure of mental illness? Exorcism has within it the notion of liberation, and the word demon comes from a Greek root meaning to divide. We are used to thinking about the personal demons of greed, selfishness, materialism, the desire for power. In these days of conflict, violence, and hateful rhetoric, days in which we must come to grips with our national original sin of slavery and its continuing consequence of systemic racism, can liberation from the demons which divide us be more meaningful, more hoped for? Jesus was deeply engaged in the politics and culture wars of his time. Are we? Are we willing to work for the liberation of our country from the demon of division? In these days, it is first and foremost about race, but is also about the demons of sexism, homophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and so many more. When these demons are within us, they hurt us, and they hurt those around us. When they are in our church, they hurt us even more, as we Christians have claimed to love one another. Which demons must we, you and I, as individuals, exorcise? Which demons as a church must we exorcise? and which demons are crying out to be exorcised from our nation? I think we know the answers. The way we confront these demons is by the hard and constant work of first confronting them in ourselves, by examining our thoughts, actions, and words in the light of Jesus' call to love one another as he first loved us. As we once taught our children to sing, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." Indeed, that's the only way it can begin, each of us confronting our demons and resolving to free ourselves from them with and by the grace of God. As the mother of Jacob Blake said to us all, look into your hearts. As the demons of division are healed in families, workplaces, playgrounds, and even the church, God's reign is built and liberation can become a reality. God invites each of us to extend our circle of liberation beyond the boundaries and divisions we cling to, and to give thanks that we are and wish to be one in the love of the one who first loved us.